everyone, thank you for coming. My name is Katarzyna and today I will be talking about legalizing prostitution. As we all know, prostitution has been called the world's oldest profession and has existed throughout history in every culture, regardless of its legal status or moral teaching. Prohibition of prostitution has failed to produce any positive result, has not reduced the occurrence of paid sex. In fact, in some cases, increased the violent crime, which has wasted millions of dollars of government resources. By legalizing prostitution, we can benefit the public safety by reducing violent crime. We can benefit the government by maximizing the resources. And finally, we can benefit the sex workers by giving them equal rights. Please hold all the questions until the end. First, let me begin by talking about the benefits to public safety by reducing violent crime. Legalizing prostitution has been shown in other civilized countries to reduce violent crime. There is much violence related to illegal prostitution, such as rape, murder, abuse, human trafficking, and police corruption. In Denmark and the Netherlands, prostitution has been legalized. Both countries report less than 1/5 the number of murders and less than 1/3 the numbers of rape per 1,000 than the US. Both countries report that legalizing prostitution was directly responsible for reducing violent crime. Now, let me talk about maximizing government resources. Melissa Farley, the psychologist researchers, best known for her study on prostitution. She has stated that each city in the United States spends up to $23 million on prostitution control. If prostitution would be legalized, then all that money and time, the government would not have to spend all that money and time fighting it. The police in Cleveland, Boston, and Houston has arrested twice as many people for prostitution as they did for murders and assault combined. The officers in each city in the United States spend 2 days each work week on chasing sex workers. So all that money could be spent on fighting more serious crimes, also on developing educational programs, social programs, and healthcare programs. Now let me move on to my last topic. Giving benefits to sex workers by giving them equal rights. According to National Task Force on Prostitution, there are over 1 million prostitutes working in the United States. They often deal with the discrimination, very harsh work conditions, and no health care. If prostitution would be legalized, they would have access to equal rights, like any other profession, access to educational programs and social programs. By having government-regulated businesses, there will be inspection, drug testing, and access to health programs. Those health programs would greatly eliminate the sexually transmitted diseases among sex workers. According to Nevada Brothers newspaper, a well-known newspaper in Nevada, there has been a great increase of tax revenue since prostitution has been legalized, and less discrimination towards prostitutes themselves. The sex workers enjoy a clean and safe and government-regulated environment. So as you see, Nevada showed us and showed the United States that legalizing prostitution can actually work. Now let me please summarize my presentation. As I mentioned before, prohibition of prostitution has failed to produce any positive result. And by legalizing prostitution, we can benefit the public safety by reducing violent crime. We can benefit the government by maximizing resources. And finally, we can benefit sex workers by giving them equal rights. So now, does anyone has any question for me?
Sure, I have a question. What are the laws really like in the Netherlands for prostitution?
The law, very good question. The law in Netherlands is very strict. Actually, the brothels are legal licensed businesses. The sex workers have to be at least 18 years old. They have full social legal employment rights. They have to go through a mandatory testing. They have to pay income taxes. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you very much.
Great. Another question for me?
Sure, actually I have another question. How is the testing for sexually transmitted diseases work in Nevada? And how has that worked out?
Excellent question. Actually, the testing works really great. Since 1986, Nevada law requires that registered brothel prostitutes need to be checked weekly for sexually transmitted diseases and monthly for HIV. And since 1986, when mandatory testing began, not a single brother sex worker has ever tested positive for HIV, as well as sexually transmitted diseases were absent. So does that answer your question?
Certainly.
Okay, anyone else has any question for me?
No.
Alright, great. So, well, that concludes my presentation on legalizing prostitution, and thank you for listening.